Good morning, good afternoon, brothers, sisters, comrades, and friends. Let's see. Quick live test. Can everyone hear me, see me? How are we looking? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you're already here. Thank you to the early arrivals, showing some enthusiasm. Okay, it's an absolute zoo in here today. Yay, okay, good. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Amanda. Hello, Nancy, as always. Hello, George. I saw your message on Patreon. I'm glad you're here. Wreckage of My Flesh, always good to see you. And Homebody. Jan Guardian, hey. Snoocher, hi from Italy. Ciao. And so on and so forth. You can't see this. I'm absolutely locked in. I'm stuck in this chair, so this live will have to go for as long as necessary. I have a cat here crying for my attention and a dog wrapped around my foot. So I'm absolutely stuck with you. Okay. Okay, good. Hello, everybody. Lots of people already. DNB International, Griefers Official, Radio Girl, Cygnus Base. Always good to see you. Okay, so let's get started. There is a loose. Get off the microphone. There is a loose theme for this, which is about how lives improve, the quality of life improves over time. But I'm more than happy to go off the rails and just relax and have a conversation with you. So let's give you some context. Let's ground you in reality. It's currently 8 a.m. I'm in Cyprus. Most of my chores for the day are done. I've taken the dog out for the walk, fed the cat, all of that stuff. And I'm ready to just little conversation about sobriety. So let's begin. What improves over time with sobriety? Well, I'd like to know from those of you who have like a day sober, I'd like to know the difference from yesterday. And also if you have a week or a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, lay it all out there. Started already. This is the risk of live streaming from a zoo, is that occasionally the animals will fight in the background and I have to save them. Pretty awkward. So, who's got what? Morning from Cheshire, twat country. Yep. Amazing to feel fresh on a Sunday after 20 years, isn't it just? Okay, so according to the theme of what improves over time, time is a big one, right? So the fact that I've already done everything I need to do for the day on a Sunday, after 20 years of dreading Sundays, of just sleeping through them, and waiting for them to end so that I can wake up on Monday feeling better. It's a joy to be here speaking to you people at 8 a.m. and to just be productive and just to be functioning on a Sunday morning. And that's one of the biggest things that I've found in sobriety, that once you quit drinking, is that you have access to so much more time. You can be so much more productive and get so much more done. And that is a gift. It's a gift that we give to ourselves. And it's important to find ways to use it wisely, right? So that's one of the big challenges that I faced in early sobriety, is what do I do with all this fucking time? I'm not used to it. What do I do on a Sunday morning? How do I function like a regular person? And you find kind of ways to cope. Mine is getting up at 5 a.m. and getting the dog out and chasing the frisbee by 6, and then making nice, good coffee. Coffee check. What have you got? I've got an Americano from Cafe Nero across the road. And it is fine. That's all. It's fine. Okay, let's go through the comments. Okay, hello from Adelaide, from Nick. G'day, mate. Hello, Jeff. Hello, Katie from Minnesota. Tenenvasser has 2 years and 2 months. I like the symmetry of that, 2-2. That's very appealing. Phase Roel got 20 minutes. Well, that's better than nothing. A lot of people in recovery say 1 day at a time, but when you've got 20 minutes, it is 1 minute at a time. So I wish you the best. Will Clutter, happy birthday. He says it's his 39th birthday and he's 13 days sober. What a great time in your life to get sober. That was roughly the time that I started to achieve some sobriety myself. Hitting 40 sober is a real big deal because it means that you get to do the second half of your life making good decisions. And that's how I felt. That's what my 40th birthday, for what it's worth, was very low key. I didn't really do much. I was on my own. But I live in a place where people go on holiday, so I didn't feel like I needed to go away or anything. But that was really just a very quiet celebration of the fact that I get to do the back half of my life sober after having done most of the first half out of my mind. So congratulations on a bit of sobriety before your 40th birthday. I recommend that to everybody, even people without alcohol problems, is that you should quit. If you're drinking, you should quit before you turn 40, because that's when your metabolism changes and you're tired all the time, testosterone drops, all of that stuff. So a good time to do it. George Belsham asks, how was the remainder of your trip to Ayia Napa? Do you find holidays improving over time? I don't take a great deal of holidays. I kind of live on holiday. But Ayia Napa is okay. Ayia Napa was a big reminder of what my life used to be like, because usually I'm in bed at like 9 p.m., but my girlfriend and I went to Ayia Napa. That's kind of a party town here in Cyprus, if you're not familiar with it. And it was just full of tourists. There is no one from Cyprus in Ayia Napa. Everybody is there on holiday. And we were out late enough for the tone of the evening to kind of change. So in the day, it's full of like young families and people go to the beach and the water parks and stuff. By 10 p.m., those people have retreated to the hotel, and instead it's a different crowd of like 17-year-old Scousers and who like British people on holiday, and they're already wrecked, and you just know they fucked their night up already by being so drunk at 10 p.m. Like, what are you going to enjoy after that? What are you going to say the next morning? And what are you going to remember from your holiday? And we were there at exactly that change in tone. One moment. The dog is eating the zip on my pocket. Look at her go. All right, I tell you what, if you get it, you can keep it. You've earned it. You silly one. Yeah, so that was my experience with Ayia Napa. If you go to the right places, it is very beautiful. Some very nice restaurants and stuff. So I enjoyed it. And holidays, the rare occasion that I do take one, yeah, they're better. Like, you find yourself going to museums and stuff rather than bars. And you come away from the holiday having learned a thing rather than having forgotten a thing. And that's good for me. Okay. Howdy to Andrew Garcia. Maxine, 28 days, ... this time. Well, look, Maxine Campbell in the chat there said 28 days this time. That feels to me like a defeatist attitude. That sounds to me like preparing to fail, like you're anticipating it's going to happen again. And I find a slightly better approach for myself was to acknowledge that, yeah, it's always going to be a possibility, but to dedicate myself to working every day to ensuring that it doesn't. And occasionally it will go wrong, and you might pick up a drink again. But you need to go into it with the attitude that you are trying and that it is not inevitable that there will be a relapse in the future. Okay. From Homebody. You were the first one in the chat, Homebody. Shout out to you. 10 p.m. Saturday here in SoCal. Yeah, sounds good. What a responsible way to be spending a Saturday evening, watching my stupid sober face talking about sobriety. Thank you for being here. Nancy, things that improve after a year are finances, sleep, confidence, and curiosity. Everything. Yeah, I agree. Finances, certainly. When you're drinking, you're just kind of, money is just falling out of your pocket. It's like someone's cut a hole in your pocket and you put your hand in and there's less every time. And then occasionally you stop paying your bills and it all backs up and you stop checking your mail and you stop checking your emails and you stop going to work. And then you get hit by, or you have like a medical bill, or you get hit by some medical cost. And even if it's not directly related to your drinking, it is directly related to your drinking. It wouldn't have happened if you'd been sober, and then you're broke, and then I went through it, man. Like, I did the thing of reaching down the back of the sofa for coins to go and buy a bottle of vodka. In Azerbaijan, I was begging on the street. I was hanging around the Hilton in Baku in Azerbaijan, asking rich people for money and then drinking, and then forgetting the next day when I would see exactly the same person and ask them again for money. And it got me into a big argument in the street, and it puts pain in my stomach to remember that. So yeah, finances are certainly a big one. Jan Guardian says, after a year and 1 month, everything just feels normal again. Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. Stability and normality can feel boring to some. It can feel like boredom, but it's not. It's just stability. And that's what I think most people really crave. Palo says, I'm 3 weeks sober after a relapse, but my relapses are getting from 5 times a year to twice a year now. I'm a huge periodical binger. I go on 1 week nonstop binge or sometimes 1 month. So reducing the amount of binge drinking that's kind of harm reduction, right? I would prefer you to have none. But from reducing from 5 to 2, I suppose, is progress of a kind. But don't think that the improvement is the same as a solution. I don't think, well, now that I have only 2 terrible binge drinking periods a year, I'm better. But metrically, by the metrics, you probably are slightly better, technically, but it's not solved. There's still a lot of work to do. The hardest part is going from 1 to 0. Right? So if you reduce your binges from 5 to 2, congratulations, that's great. From 2 to 1, better. You're going to hit a wall when it's 1 to 0. That's when the work really begins, because that's sobriety. Why do you want to eat my shorts so much? You're going to growl at me. They're my shorts. All right. Getting distracted. Hello from Shanghai, matey. Typhoon over here. Ni hao, Sharif. My friends on Facebook are talking about the typhoon. It looks like a bad one. So batten down the hatches, lock all the blinds on the window. Tip your delivery riders well, because they're out there risking their lives to bring you your boba. It's good to see you. Radio Gus says, it's so nice to feel normal. Yeah, isn't it? I'll tell you what, when I was 22, normality was the last thing I wanted. That I did a video this week about feeling exceptional. And I never wanted to feel normal. I didn't want it. I wanted to live a weird and exceptional life. And I managed to accomplish that to some degree. But now, having passed 40 and having got sober, normality is all I want. I want that stability. I seek out structure where I used to seek out chaos. And my life formerly was about seeing how far I could push things. And now it's more about learning to operate within my own limitations. And that doesn't sound very exciting. If you are like 22 watching this, that doesn't sound very inspirational, I'm sure. But trust me, when you get here, you'll wish you would have learned that lesson earlier. I hate giving advice, honestly. Okay. Hello, everybody joining the chat. It's getting busy already. I'm already struggling to catch up. But we have time. Fred Zambo. I've been alcohol-free for 2.5 years, 100% sober for 6 months, and even quit caffeine. That's the big one. Well, congratulations on your progress. I often feel like I should follow in that path. I should become straight edge like Henry Rollins, and that should be my future: is to quit everything that I possibly can. But I don't think that is my personality type. It's a little bit like how for a while in early sobriety, because I threw so much shit at the wall in the hopes that something would stick. I tried everything, including like transcendental meditation. But it turns out my mind is just not Zen. It just isn't. It is too busy, too chaotic. Even in sobriety, my mind is restless. And the Zen thing didn't work out for me. I wasn't able to do it. I honestly don't think neurochemically, neurobiologically, I'm capable of doing it. I don't think I'm wired that way. So I went for a philosophical system instead. And I feel the same about quitting things. I feel like I am the kind of person who will always need a bad habit just to open the valve. And that's why I don't consider caffeine a bad habit. Frankly, I think caffeine gets a pass for me, but I do vape. And that's my one concession to bad habits. And that's how my little bit of balance, I think. But I don't know. Maybe if I do this live stream again in 10 years from now, I will be living as a monk on a mountaintop in Ulaanbaatar or something, and I will have renounced all worldly possessions. Who knows? I got to stop this. Will you stop? Will you stop? You got to stop, you cheeky little monster. No, stop looking at it. Silly dog. Okay. Matt Sandberg says Sunday is the best day. Yeah, it's kind of my most productive day usually. JB Holly says taking up weight training again after 20 years of being too hungover to pick up any weights. Yeah. Weight training is just really, really important look, it doesn't need to be intellectualized, right? Strong body, strong mind. That's what it comes down to. And doing some weight training, even if it's just like a 6 kilogram kettlebell in your own home, anything is better than nothing. Give me my hand. Why are you doing this? You've been asleep all morning since your little walk. Why are you... Bugs. Find it. Bugs. Bugs. Sometimes it's useful to distract her by lying to her that there are bugs for her to go and find. Weight training is also very big for me. I used to be a cardio guy when I was... I had a brief period of sobriety in my 20s when I was super cardio, ultra marathon runner and martial arts and all of that stuff. But I'm just not, my body has changed. So it's weights for me as well. Nothing like a good deadlift to just clear your mind. That's better than, the weights are better for me than meditation. Just go and lift up a heavy thing until your body hurts and then enjoy the endorphins. It takes a while for the endorphins to come back after a period of depression and alcoholism and stuff. But it does come back. Moving on. Amanda Jackson, 4 years clean. My mood is more stable. I have time back. I'm not getting into strange cars anymore. I actually remember activities I do. Yeah, very much in keeping with what I was saying about making better decisions. Life is just more predictable and more stable. Okay, fine. Wreckage of My Flesh asks, is that toothpaste in your beard or grey hair? Excellent, surprisingly excellent question, right? So this bit here is white hair. It's not, I don't have a huge amount of grey hair despite being 41. This is actually because there's a huge amount of scar tissue here from my broken jaw from a big accident I had when I was much younger. So this streak of white is because this hair is growing out of scar tissue. It's partially the reason I grew a beard in the first place, is because this side of my face is pretty, you can't see, my camera is a little bit not high fidelity enough, but this is all scar tissue down here. A lot of facial injuries in my life, fractured skull, broken cheekbone, broken orbit, fractured jaw, broken jaw twice, hence this metal tooth, all that stuff. I'm like the Bionic Man. I'm like partially metal, covered in scar tissue. I'm getting eaten by two animals at the same time here. This is the fucking worst threesome I've ever had. All right. Okay. I love UFOs. I started a new life, but I'm struggling. Was sober for years, but boredom and uncertainty are brutal. Been slipping the past year. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not uncommon. I don't look. I don't. I'm not being accusatory when I say this. I love UFOs. I'm not. I'm not trying to attack you when I say this because I recognize that this is a very common pattern. My opinion on boredom is that it is what you make of it. I don't think that the world is boring. I think if you're experiencing boredom, it's coming from within, from some lack of from lack of fulfillment or something. And I honestly think that you can deal with boredom by. It takes an effort, though. You shouldn't demand your life be exciting. You shouldn't expect it. You should instead go out and create that for yourself if you want it. And when I say that, the implication, of course, is that you're not. And I don't mean that. So I hope that doesn't come across as accusatory, but I do stand by my opinion. The world's fucking amazing. It's scary, but it is the most exciting time that we could possibly be alive. There's so much happening. There's so much learning being accrued. You mentioned in your name, I love UFOs. Ufology is a fascinating field of study. I don't know how you could have that interest and still consider yourself bored. I just don't think. I'm not accusing you of making excuses, but I am bored. Feels like an excuse to me because it's one of the easiest things to fix. Just go outside. You'll no longer be bored. Go to a different room. Change your environment just for a few minutes. Do some exercise, whatever it is. There's a million ways to tackle that. Boredom is easy, really easy. Okay, next up. And Kulidwala says, I always look forward to my first cup of flat white with a protein bar. It's a good way to start the day. And also a personal thank you to you for always being in the comments, a long-time supporter. Upstating mentions my broken tooth in a plastic bag. It's got to be a meme. Yeah, that's a pretty in joke. I don't think, unless you've read my book, I don't think many people would understand that. First Roll says, sorry for the 20-minute comment. Oh, your channel has helped me. I've been deep. Thank you very much. Look, I'm glad to hear it. If you ascribe it, look, if you're watching this content and if you get any benefit from it, it's you that did it. You sought it out. You made the decision to be here. Don't be so quick to thank everybody else for any progress that you've made. You chose to make that progress, and that's important. Paul Wilson mentions that he has a lot in common with my delirium tremens content. I haven't done any of that for a long time, and I've been meaning to do a big, long video, kind of accumulating all of the experience, just so that I have one definitive delirium tremens video. I just haven't sat down and done it. And my channel has changed a little bit since I talked about all of that dark and horrible stuff. But I do intend to do that. People have been asking about my delirium tremens content more and more recently. So I think it is time to revisit some of that dark and scary kind of content that I began my channel with. Kangaroo Soup asks, is Cyprus a country and how's it living there? It is a country, yeah. It is in the EU, but not in the Schengen area, I believe. I might be wrong about that. But yeah, it's a country. It's a very, very ancient country. Cyprus was a country apparently where cats were first domesticated. Everybody thinks it's ancient Egypt, but it happened in Cyprus and then they were exported to ancient Egypt. And the oldest grave with a domestic cat in it is just down the road here in Cyprus. This town that I live in, Larnaca, is the birthplace of Zeno, the philosopher who founded Stoicism, which is partially, don't talk about it much on the channel because I think it's cringy, but it's partially why I moved here. It is a country. It's currently got a UN-patrolled border that's also right here. I live right next to it because in the 60s it was invaded by Turkey, and there's a UN-controlled green zone. But it is one country. They're lobbying for unification at the moment, and I hope that they get it. It's a very beautiful country. It's underrated. Pellissier, good morning. Having moved to Cyprus, do you think the UK and its heavy drinking culture is a more difficult environment for sobriety? Yeah, I do. I've lived in a lot of places. Cyprus, there is almost no... there is an AA here, which I've been to a few times. But there isn't a very public drunkenness problem. Certainly not like there is in Zagreb or in Berlin or in UK. It's much more relaxed here. Public drunkenness is all tourists. You very rarely see it amongst the locals. And it has been helpful to me living here. Again, partially why I chose to be here is because I knew that. I knew that alcoholism rates were low here. And I've seen it in places where it's incredibly bad. Upstate in Greece doesn't think it's a country. Greece does think it's a country. It's Turkey that doesn't think it's a country. But you'll get flamed just for saying that. Tensions are very high about this kind of thing. Okay. Sergeant Flashback. 1 year, 2 months. Congratulations. You've been with me a long time as well. So it's good to see you making progress. Slowly rebuilding the relationship with my wife and being a better father is the biggest thing at the moment, apart from literally building everything getting better during the first year. Congratulations on your progress. You sound dedicated to doing the actual hard emotional work of sobriety, and I respect that. Rick, greetings from Germany. Guten Morgen, Rick. Wie geht es mit dir? Jeff asks, Paul Wilson, 215 days for Paul. Longest I've gone in the last 5 years and feeling strong. Congratulations, my friend. Jeff, how do we prevent relapse, Stu? Well, how do we prevent relapse? I'm reminded of a quote. Benicio del Toro's character in Sicario, where he replies to a question like that. You're asking how a watch works. All we can do for now is keep track of the time. I think that's how I would answer. Like, how do we prevent relapse? It's too personal and too complex. There is no button you can press that will stop the relapse before it begins. Sometimes, especially in early sobriety, it's just much more practical to look out for the signs and signifiers that a relapse is approaching and take evasive action, like be drastic, be dramatic, cancel all of your social appointments and stay safe. In the longer term, relapse prevention is usually the product of a combination of factors. It's a combination of having done the work, and the work includes emotional work. That's therapy. In my experience, it's cognitive behavioral therapy. That's what I was using to prevent relapse, and it gives you actual practical tips that you can do to fight urges and to recognize the pattern of a relapse on the horizon. And then it's incredibly important. I think it's my opinion that having a system is the most important part of sobriety, right? So what I mean by that is you can have any system you want. You can have religion. You can have God, you can have Jesus, you can have Allah, you can have Buddha, whatever you want. You can invent something. What's that stupid atheist thing about the flying spaghetti monster? If that's your thing, that's your thing. What you need, or you can have a scientific system, one based on neuroscience and exercise and nutrition, or you can have a philosophical system like me, or a metaphysical system, something about eternity, or whatever. It doesn't matter what the system is. What matters is that it brings structure into your life, and you can rely on it when you are struggling. You get to choose your system. You get to try as many as possible, as many as you want. What matters is that there is a system of understanding that undergirds your understanding of sobriety. Doesn't matter what it is. Some are better than others. I won't get political and say which is which, but yeah, it's so important to find a system. A community is a system as well. This can be part of a system. This kind of thing, talking here and consuming sobriety content, that is a perfectly valid system. All it matters is that you have a thing that explains your problem in the first place. Therapy or whatever it is. You just got to have a thing. And that's long-term relapse prevention, because that system, whatever it is that you settle on, is what you need to fall back on every time things get difficult. So I'm sorry. I wish I could give you a really easy answer when you ask me how do we prevent relapse. It's a lot of small things. It's not one big thing. I wish it was as easy as like 10 minutes in the sauna, and we all had saunas in our houses, and we could just go in there and sit in there for 10 minutes, and then that would avert the relapse. But unfortunately, it does depend on your drinking patterns and factors and that kind of thing. So I'm getting behind. Early morning backcountry from Elric. That's right. It's not so early now. I've been on for half an hour already. Turtle Walker, good night. Thank you for being here. Maxine Campbell, I'm enjoying reading the Daily Stoic, daily readings and reflections on Stoic thought and life. The Daily Stoic is really good. And it's a really, really good entry point if you want to take a philosophical stance. The reason I'll talk about it very briefly. The reason I don't talk about Stoicism is because it's kind of been adopted by like crypto bros and like manosphere influencers and stuff. And I've got no interest in that. I like Stoicism. I like the original form. I like the actual original texts and that kind of thing. So I stay away from talking about it on the channel because Stoicism has a bad reputation, unfortunately. It's been kind of hijacked. I think I've just skipped so many. Let me go back and find some. I'm sorry if I've missed some. I've been kind of long-winded as usual and missed some. So I'll pick up at random. Wow, there's so many of you. God, it always surprises me doing this. That I just sit here and I think I'll just turn the camera on for 45 minutes or an hour. And then so many people from so many locations are in here sharing and talking and stuff like that. It makes me a little bit emotional, I have to be honest. Okay, let's pick up at random. Adult child from Watcher, adult child of alcoholic parent. Yeah, that's one of the hardest. Alcoholism is selfish, and there is so much collateral damage, and the alcoholic will hide behind the argument that I'm only hurting myself, and that is my right to do that. And they have no clarity because they're selfish. They don't know how much it's hurting everyone else around them. So, this body holding me, Batman, how are you from Australia? I'm doing very well. I hope that Australia is treating you well. If you're still here, anyone from Australia, I would like you to do me a favor. Go to Google and type the hottest woman in Australia, news, Australia, and look for a PR campaign about cooling bedsheets. That was me. I did that for a company called Fenex. So it made the news a little while back. Okay. Hi, Stu. Cheers from Mexico, from Vigo Simo Septimo. I'll be traveling alone for the first time after reaching 2 years sober. Any recommendations for a solo traveler while being away from the daily routine? It's a big test. Long periods of waiting around, long periods of stress. I don't know. Go easy on yourself. Here's my tip for that. Try not to put yourself under too much pressure. Build flexibility into your itinerary, like more flexibility than you expect, or get rid of an itinerary altogether. And just have a vague idea of what you want to do. Because if you start missing deadlines and having to deal with bureaucracy, it's that stuff, for me at least, that drove me back to the bottle. The thing of like solving problems on the way, that kept me sober. That's what keeps me sober now when I'm traveling, is that I have to be focused. But do keep us posted on your progress. Elric, 10 years sober here. The way it worked for me: go to AA, sit, listen, get a sponsor, do the steps. But remember, AA is a bridge to normal living. Don't get institutionalized in it. Excellent advice, Elric. I could never possibly say it better than that. What Elric is saying there is that do the work of AA, but keep it at arm's length. That's my philosophy of AA too, is don't get institutionalized by it. I quote AA a lot, but I make a conscious effort not to be repeating AA language. I do it a little bit, because Elric is right. Don't get institutionalized by it. Just keep a healthy distance. Keep it at arm's length. Because if AA lets you down, if AA is your only thing, and it lets you down, as it did ultimately for me, then there is no recourse. It can be quite destabilizing. What I mean is, I know that a lot of you know this, but I relapsed after a particularly bad AA event, like an off-site AA meeting, because AA was my big thing for a while. And when AA let me down, I had nothing to fall back on, because that was the only thing I had. I was getting institutionalized by it. Elric, that's excellent advice. With 10 years sober, Elric is a guy that you should listen to. Thank you for sharing that. Very, very good advice. Upstating Henry Rollins. Oh, I mentioned Henry Rollins, and now there's a conversation. Henry Rollins is a fucking caffeine freak. I had to arrange backstage on his rider back in 2007, and damn, he drank all of them enhanced on green tea and Red Bulls, like all 12 of them. Yeah, you can just tell one look at him and you know that he's got a huge amount of caffeine. I don't think he's not even vegetarian anymore, as far as if I remember correctly. I should research stuff like this before I say it, but he was never fully straight edge. That's why I like him more than, the name escapes me, the other guy who actually founded Straight Edge, or is attributed to him. I like Henry Rollins a little bit more just because he's not quite so dogmatic about it. Okay. Oh, Paling on Pale, 100 days sober today. Yours is the only sobriety channel that helped a lot. Paling on Pale, congratulations on 100 days sober. I'm glad that my content helps, but it's also useful to get different perspectives. So don't just rely on mine, even if you don't fully connect with others. For me, I still really like Kevin O'Hara. I'm still really into Slayer sober. I know he's relapsed a little bit. I just like him. I think that once he gets it, he'll be he'll be in a good position to help people once he finally gets it beaten himself. And a whole bunch of others. I shouldn't ever name other content creators on this, because the moment I leave someone out, it makes it seem like I don't like them. And it's not true. I shouldn't have said anything at all. That's why I try not to do it. Andrew Severino, the things that deadlifts, squats, and bench can do for you are wild. Those are my three. I barely do anything else. I do deadlifts, squats, and bench. I do them all heavy. I do not a huge amount of reps. And then I feel really good about myself for the rest of the day. Luke says, when did it get easier? Big question. I'm not going to be flippant. I'm going to give you a real answer. 1 year. 1 year is when the daily fight ends. 1 year is when you realize you're not fighting every day anymore. and then it actually starts to improve after that. I'm going to commit this question to the intelligence of the chat. I've already given away my answer. So over to you. When do you think it actually gets easier? Answers in the comments. Fasserol, was the big accident from motorcycles in Asia? No, I did have a big cycling accident in Shanghai. That was the one where I fractured my skull. The scars were from a bicycle accident in England. The broken jaw, one of them was from martial arts. One of them was from getting the shit kicked out of me by the police in Kazakhstan. Oh, a million. I'll do a separate video about my injuries if you like. Brian Hambleton, 20 days here after spending some time in the hospital for pancreatitis. Still feeling quite mentally foggy and depressed, but this beats withdrawals combined with pancreatitis. Oh man, pancreatitis. They don't tell you. You don't know about pancreatitis until you get it. You don't know how absolutely agonizing it is. How life-changingly painful pancreatitis is. But I'm glad that you're out of it. I'm glad that you're improving. Listen, Brian, you don't need me to tell you this. Don't let it happen again. If you let it happen again, it's on you. Your body has sent you the warning, right? Now it's up to you to listen. How much time have we got? A few more minutes. Let me scan through Pit of Wolves. We're bored because we require more backcountry videos. I can only do so much. I've got a full-time job and a separate business. Believe me when I say I would rather be doing this full-time. This it doesn't quite bring the big money, unfortunately. For me to go, I'm going to talk about it for a little bit. I would love to be full-time doing backcountry and sobriety-related stuff, right? But to make what I do make money, to make enough to support myself, it means I have to do things that will end the channel. Look, not naming names. There's another sobriety channel which for a while had potential to be really useful to people. A very relaxed tone, talking about really relatable stuff. The presenter I'm talking about Bryn Lee. The guy's a good-looking guy. And he's doing well. But unfortunately, he started taking really weird sponsorships and stuff in a rush to monetize what he was doing. And as a result, his channel just kind of plateaued. And I try not to make that mistake. But that's the temptation, is that for me to be able to do this full time means that I have to make it make money. And the moment that I actively make it make money, it loses its credibility, right? So believe me when I say ad revenue doesn't cut it. It doesn't earn enough to do this full time just for ad revenue. So yeah, I don't know why. Sorry, I didn't mean to rant about that 40 minutes into a live stream, but this is the way it has to be. Is I have to do this like once a week, once every week and a half, and not take unnecessary collaborations and partnerships, because the moment I do, it's kind of over. Lose my credibility. But thank you for the supportive comment. Okay. Michelle Nobels, my cat helps me. Everything I do is for her. If I'm unable to help her, I've failed. I agree. The cat and the dog more so, because my cat is a survivor. This is a stray who just walked into my house one day and now lives here. So the cat, I'm pretty sure, can look after herself, but the dog needs some close monitoring. Owen, do you think about drinking kava? I tried kava before I knew it was alcoholic. It was before I quit drinking. I don't know. I've got no desire to have low alcohol drinks. I've got nothing against it, but I have no desire to seek it out. Yeah. Scott Allen is arguing with me about the domestication of cats, arguing that it happened in Sumeria. Here's what I think happened. Sumeria has the first written record because writing comes from Sumer. So they wrote about cats earlier, but the earliest grave with a domesticated cat is Cyprus. I don't know. Oh my God, am I that far behind that we're still talking about domestication of cats? I'm sorry, I'm so bad at this. A lot of people... Oh, thank you, Dr. Prasan Gupta. I assume the DR stands for doctor, but I'm not absolutely certain. Your comment is, you're such a sight for sore eyes, struggling with sobriety. Sobriety is the struggle, right? We all struggle with sobriety. We all struggle with alcoholism. We just learn to live with the struggle, I suppose, in a sense. Okay. I've got another DR. Dr. Bowers, DR Bowers, please speak on the topic of antidepressants and alcoholism, if you don't mind. The next video is about that, so I won't do it at length here, but my next video is one about depression, antidepressants, and alcohol and alcoholism. So stay tuned for that one. Someone asked on the Patreon for me to cover it, and I've been meaning to do it ever since. And now that I'm actually going through it again, I've had a big depression period, like a hammock of depression recently. I would like to talk about it. My hand is going dead. Oh, I'm sorry, Lumi. I know you were comfortable, but I can't feel my hand. Listen, I'm really sorry if I've skipped over your comments. I'm not ignoring people. There's more than I expected. I should find a better way to do this, really. Jiqui says, I've been sober now for 3 months. I'm going through the anhedonia you talked about before, but I'm doing my best daily to remind myself every morning to be appreciative towards life. Good for you. Anhedonia takes conscious effort to be grateful. Oh my God, thank you. Oh, don't point that at me. Make my hand go dead and then wave your butthole in my face, you absolute deviant, you reprobate. What was I talking about? Yeah, anhedonia. So you have to, it takes effort. You have to force yourself to be grateful of things and stuff and that kind of thing. Slayer, from Vicky Shaw, Slayer is such a genuine and gentle soul. That's my impression too. Like I know that he gets a lot of stick. I'm going to talk about Slayer sober for a moment. Slayer gets people frustrated a little bit because he speaks so articulately and eloquently about sobriety. He has all of the tools and all of the education to be able to beat this thing, and he still has occasionally very big relapses. But look, I don't think the criticism that he occasionally gets, he gets less now. I think he's proved that he's a good person, even to his haters. But I never thought it was warranted. I got the sense immediately from him that he was a very genuine and sensitive guy, and he's not hiding anything. He's not lying about anything. I really hope, I have done from the start, that he makes it for the long term. I hope that for him more than anybody else who does this, because I think that I don't agree with any of the criticism of Slayer. I love his stuff. I love the way he talks. He's got a huge amount of depth, in my opinion. Maybe you think I'm wrong about this. I just think that time and time again, he's proved that I just love the guy. I think when he makes it, it will be good for everybody. He'll be a really good kind of role model that you can struggle and you can struggle for a long time, but you can come out of it at the end and still be a decent person. That's what I'm hoping for Slayer. And I just like him. He and we haven't spoken for a long time, but for a while we spoke behind the scenes as well. And yeah, there's nothing held back with Slayer. He's just hanging on to some baggage that once he lets go of, he'll be good. I have confidence. Okay, I need to start wrapping up. Let me make sure I haven't missed anything super important. Oh my God. LD, of course. Yeah, this is the mistake I make when I mention other creators, is that I always forget one. LD is like an institution. LD is liver disease, and he does almost daily updates about his recovery from liver cirrhosis. Not recovery from, but his living with liver cirrhosis. And also he's built a really strong community over there. How he keeps up that rate of talking every day. I struggle to do it once a week. But occasionally one of his videos will blow up again, and it'll bring in like new audiences for him. Yeah, he's great. Okay. Okay, I think we should wrap it up, just because I've been very scatty. I didn't stick to what my original topic was, which was how things improve over time. Let me so I'm going to wrap up by answering the questions that are right in front of me. I drink from Fuck's Music, clever name. I drink to cope with my chronic depression because I am way smarter than any therapist. Yeah, I'm glad that I opened up to people about my problem. I was amazed how many of them support me. Fuck's Music there is being Fuck's Music, I should say, is being coy there. I drink to cope with my chronic depression because I'm smarter than any therapist is the attitude of a lot of alcoholics. And it's very funny. Jed Kelly, long-time supporter. Do you think the quick fix mentality of alcoholics tends to flow into sobriety? I find myself impatient with life and suspect that this is partly due to years of taking the easy way out with booze. Well, here's a controversial opinion, Jed Kelly. 2. I'm going to say the first one. I'm going to say the second one first. The second controversial opinion is that if you were a dry drunk, but it works for you every single day forever, you're sober. You made it. The first opinion, if the short-term fixes work for you every single day forever, then they worked. That I don't know. That feels like a dangerous opinion, but it's the long-term fixes. Sobriety for me meant changing my entire fucking life, right? And I mean it. It meant cutting out all bad influences. It meant relocating, uprooting my entire life. I know it was slightly forced, but it meant uprooting my entire life. It meant becoming a different person entirely. I am not the same person as I was at 41 that I was at 31. I am different in so many respects, fundamentally different, I think. And that's because that was what was necessary for me, was doing the long-term stuff. The short-term fixes didn't work for me every day. Do you carry that mentality into long-term sobriety? Perhaps. Yeah, it's too complicated for me to answer. I know exactly what you mean, but it's such a good question that I'm not sure that I can answer it. So sorry, Jed Kelly, I kind of rambled and then didn't answer your question. Very on brand for me. Talk about something unrelated, don't answer the question, apologize. Oh, hello again. You want my coffee? Okay. Where are we? Okay, I think that's where we're going to wrap up. There's a new guy called Sober Journey who is fantastic. I'm following him already. Yeah, I already did. That guy is called Sober Journey. His short content is very good. And that recommendation comes from Cygnus Base. And if the recommendation comes from Cygnus Base, that's a good recommendation. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. I think the outcome of this, my original theme, which was about how things improve in long-term sobriety, is something like this. They improve in increments, and quite often you don't recognize the improvements until afterwards. A lot of the improvements and the progress that's made in sobriety is invisible at the time. And it's only afterwards that you kind of look back over the scale of the changes and the progresses that you've made, and you're like, holy fuck, look how far I've come without even recognizing it. Look what's different in my life. Look at my bank account. Look at my health scores. Look at my fitness. Look at my emotion. Look at my outlook. And for some people, it happens quickly. So for some people, it takes many years. And that progress is sometimes invisible, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. If you don't feel like you're making progress, that doesn't mean that you're not making progress. It means that one day, a month from now, 3 months or 6 months, you'll suddenly be like, holy shit, look what I've accomplished. And that is when sobriety really starts to feel like it's paying off, right? Sobriety pays off in hindsight. You often don't notice the progress that you're making. Thank you very much for being with me today, this morning, keeping me company, me and Lumi, on this Sunday morning. And as always, good luck out there.